All right, today we're going deep. We're going to look under the hood of modern AI to find the one single piece of tech that really changed everything. This is the engine that's driving pretty much every single AI breakthrough you've heard about, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. So what is it? I mean, is it just about throwing more data at the problem, building way faster computers? Look, those things definitely help, for sure, but they aren't the real answer. The actual breakthrough, it's something way more fundamental. It's a single kind of beautiful concept that just completely unlocked a new era of what machines can do. You know, you probably interact with its power every single day. Whether you're using ChatGPT to help you bang out some code or an AI art generator to create these incredible images from just a few words, or even in super complex fields like drug discovery. All of these tools, which seem so different on the surface, they all share the exact same fundamental DNA. And that DNA, it's called the transformer. Now, it's not a robot from a movie, it's a specific design for a neural network and architecture. And honestly, to really get what's happening in AI today, you have to understand this one thing. So, what was the massive problem it solved that nothing else before it could? Well, it all comes down to the challenge of understanding sequences, like sentences in a human language. For the longest time, this was just a huge, huge bottleneck for AI. So before the transformer came along, models like what we call recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, they process language sequentially. Think about it like this. They'd read the first word, think about it, move to the second, think about it, and so on, one by one. And this created some pretty major limitations. And this comparison really shows you the difference in a nutshell. The old way, processing one word at a time, imagine reading a really long paragraph that way. By the time the model got to the end, it could literally forget what it read at the beginning. It was also incredibly slow, because you couldn't start processing word 5 until you were totally done with word 4. The transformer just threw that whole idea out. It looks at the entire sentence all at once. And that simple change made it massively faster to train and gave it this incredible grasp of context. So how did we get from that slow, one-word-at-a-time approach to seeing everything at once? Well, it came from a single, revolutionary idea published in what is now one of the most important papers in the history of AI. It was 2017. A group of researchers at Google published a paper that basically challenged years of how everyone thought this should be done. They proposed that you could just get rid of the slow, sequential parts of the model completely, and instead rely on a totally different mechanism to understand language. And the title said it all. Attention is all you need. What a bold, provocative title. And it turned out to be completely right. The authors argued that the real key wasn't about processing words in some rigid order, but about dynamically understanding the relationships between all the words in a sentence, using this mechanism they called attention. So at the very heart of the transformer is this concept, self-attention. And put simply, it's just a way for the model, as it's looking at one word, to also look at every other single word in the sentence and figure out which ones are the most relevant for understanding that specific word. And this right here, this is where the magic happens. Let's take this sentence. The robot picked up the ball because it was heavy. Now, how does an AI know what it is talking about? Is it the robot or the ball? Well, with self-attention, the model calculates these relationship scores between all the words. It very quickly learns that the word it has a really high attention score with the word ball and a super low score with robot because, things that get picked up are often heavy. It correctly gets that the ball is the heavy object. That is the power of attention. It finds all the hidden context in language. So how does it actually calculate those scores? Conceptually, you can think of it like this. For every single word, the model generates 3 separate things. First, there's a query. The query is kind of like the word raising its hand and asking a question. Hey, who in this sentence is the most relevant to me? Then, every other word has a key, which is like a name tag announcing what it is and what it's about. The model compares that query to every single key to find the best matches. And finally, each word has a value, which holds its actual meaning. The higher the score between a query and a key, the more of that word's value gets mixed into the final understanding of our original word. It's just a really elegant mathematical way of building context. Okay, so now that we have that core concept of self-attention down, let's zoom out a little bit and see how it all fits into the full transformer architecture. So here's the high-level flow. First, text gets broken down into little numerical pieces called tokens. Now, this next part is super important. Since the model sees all the words at once, we have to add some information about their original position in the sentence. That's called positional encoding. Then, all that data flows through the encoder, which is where the model understands everything, and then finally to the decoder, which is what generates the output. So the encoder's job is purely about comprehension. It reads the whole input sentence and uses self-attention to build this really rich, deep map of what it all means. The decoder's job is all about generation. It takes that rich understanding from the encoder and, one word at a time, it produces a response, paying attention to both the original input and the words it's already written. Now, the model doesn't just do this once. It uses something called multi-head attention. And the best way to think about this is like having a bunch of different experts all reading the same sentence at the same time. One expert might be focused on the grammar. Another might be looking at the semantic relationships, the meaning. And a third might be tracking all the pronouns. All of these different perspectives are then combined to create a much, much richer and more complete understanding of the text. So here's the main takeaway. By solving that old sequence problem with this new parallel attention idea, the transformer didn't just make language models a little bit better, it completely unleashed the potential of AI across the board. And the impact was just immediate. I mean, just look at how fast everything started moving. After that 2017 paper, boom, foundational models like BERT and GPT appeared almost overnight. A few years after that, the same architecture was adapted for images, giving us things like DALL-E. And then, by 2022, ChatGPT put this incredible power into the hands of millions, kicking off the huge AI boom that we're all living through right now. And its reach is just incredible. It's not just for text. The same core architecture is being used to understand images and audio, to solve one of the hardest problems in biology, protein folding, and even to play chess at a grandmaster level without any of the old-school search algorithms. The transformer is truly a general-purpose architecture for intelligence. So just how dominant is this one idea? Think about this number for a second. Over 90%. What do you think that represents? It represents the share of today's most powerful AI language models that are all built on the transformer architecture. From Google's models to OpenAI's to Anthropic's, they're all direct descendants of that original 2017 paper. It is, without a doubt, the undisputed king. And that kind of brings us to our final thought here. The story of the transformer, it really shows how a single, elegant insight can completely change the world, and do it fast. It really makes you wonder, right? What's the next attention is all you need? What's the next single idea out there, just waiting to be discovered, that's going to unlock the next era of progress?